front page of pretty much every single newspaper today is the news that the European Super League that isn't anymore. 6 English clubs have pulled out, and other clubs as well. I think we're left with just 2 clubs left of the 12-strong Super League. This after a huge backlash from fans across the board, players, managers, politicians, Prince William, the Football Association, the FIFA, UEFA, the Premier League, other clubs, the media. Across the board. Was there anyone in favour of this European Super League apart from those 12 clubs that were part of it? What do you think was the final straw that meant that these clubs did pull out? Was it fan power or was it to do with money?
Well, first of all, there's been a lot of noise in the last 2 days in the revolution to change the face of football. Let's make no mistake what this was about. This was about 2 elite groups who wanted to have the power to exploit football. It was never about the fans. It was never about the fans. It was about UEFA trying to hold on to power, the Premier League trying to hold on to their power, and another group, this new ASL, trying to come into power. We've framed it in the way that, yes, it's about the football fans and taking their game back. In 1992, once the Premier League started, football became a business. And what football wanted was the biggest businessmen involved in football. What fans wanted was the people with the deepest pockets to come and take their clubs. Yeah. And we were then told that anybody coming to football has to understand the nature of football. It's the other way around. Once you have these big multi-billionaire businessmen coming to football fans have to understand the nature of business. And of course, we hadn't had the balance right. So this is being framed as a powerful victory for the fans. It is not a victory for the fans. It's a victory for whoever wins can exploit football fans. And this is what this was all been about.
I couldn't agree with you more. It seems to me that when we have a situation where the Premier League, FIFA and UEFA are being billed as the saviours of football and the people on the side of the ordinary fan, that was virtually, it's just laughable, frankly. How much of this, though, was, a sort of bottling by those big clubs? We know it was Man City and Chelsea were the first to pull out. Was it about sort of the bad PR, or was it that behind the scenes, the players, the managers were revolting, the sponsors were getting worried that they were going to be damaged by this, and that actually this wasn't going to be the big money maker they thought it was? Was it finally just about the money?
I thought at the start it was about a negotiation tactic and a power grab to try and get more money from UEFA to maintain the status quo in terms of the way the Champions League is. And of course, what we've heard, as much as the clubs may now have egg on their faces, there's talking about a 6-7 billion new package coming into the Euros, which means into UEFA, which means the club will then benefit. So as much as, this is the way business is conducted, but it's not conducted in the open. If you look at the way banking goes, anything, this is how business is conducted in secrecy, whereby big deals are made and we don't know the dynamics of it. Unfortunately for football, it's done out in the open. But the outcome of it is that the clubs, the big 6, will get more money, as much as they've got egg on their faces. Yeah. And who's going to pay for that? Do you think ticket prices? Do you think Sky subscriptions? The fans will pay for it. So as much as I said, it's been a victory for the fans, if you like. The clubs will still benefit. Yeah,
absolutely. And what significance should we read into the Man United chief executive Ed Woodward resigning? He apparently was confronted by his own team players, including the captain Harry Maguire. We know that he's played a crucial role in trying to set this up. How big a role do you think he's been playing?
Well, we look at Jordan Henderson and the captains and we think they have a big part to play. When it comes to big business like this, they have no part. They can come out and they can say who they're supporting and who they're not supporting. Had this gone ahead, I'm sure Harry Maguire and all the players, Jordan Henderson, would have signed up for an extra 200 grand a week, and they would have signed and they would have played. But they have no control over this. So I think we overstate the importance that the players play in big business. They like to put the players forward to come up with a decision. But what would the players have done had this gone ahead in this power struggle? Would the players have said, we're not going to play for Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United and Chelsea, probably earning twice as much as we can? I think if the players really want to take a moral stance, and for football, what we should do is we should look at a salary cap. We should look at a salary cap whereby football can govern its business. It can be audited. It can stop paying agents 20-30 million pounds so that these owners don't have to do what they did now to say we need more money, because they need more money because the salaries are so exorbitant.
This is the thing, isn't it? The fans always want it both ways, as you touched on in your first answer. Everyone's delighted when some billionaire from America or any other country turns up and says, I'd like to spend billions on this club. I want to build a new stadium. I want to buy the best players. Everyone loves it. it, but then they still think that, well, it's the local community, and it sort of can't be both. In terms of what happens now, where we go in the future, you reckon the big six clubs are going to get more money? At the end of the day, it's going to be the fans buying tickets and paying their Sky subscriptions and buying their shirts. They're the ones who are going to end up paying for this. That's where all the money comes from. But is this going to change anything? Do you think with Tracy Crouch, the former sports minister, who's leading this review into the governance of football, that we may actually see some sort of change, moving to something similar that they have in Germany, where fans do actually have, a controlling right in their clubs?
Well, why fans have a controlling right in their clubs is because for years and years, 60, 70 years, they had shares in the club and they still own them. If fans want rights in their club, they have to buy shares. How much are the shares worth now? Can an average fan afford to own a football club or to have shares? No, they can't. So therefore, those days are over. Okay. So I would say to the fans, as much as now we're talking about, even from Liverpool's perspective, is it over for the owners? Do they have to sell the club? Who are they going to sell the club to? And if they sell the club to someone with more money than them, do you think that the people coming in whose business is run on autocracy are going to listen to fans when they say, this is what we want you to do? It is not going to happen. So you can't have it both ways, as you say.
Yeah.
And secondly,
carry on.
Would a player then say, the reason why the clubs are in this situation is because, and the fans have to pay so much, is because of the salaries that they're, will they have a salary cap and take a drop in their salaries, which will still earn a lot of money, to help the fans to pay less for their shirts and less for their tickets? I don't think so. That would
be the moral stance. And just finally, as someone who did play for his country very honourably, if you were a player now and were told you can earn, $500,000 a week in the European Super League if it was going ahead, but you would never be able to play for your country again, you wouldn't be able to play in the Euros or in the World Cup, would you be willing to lose out on that privilege and that honour and that glory in return for the extra money? And do you think most players would?
I think the more pertinent question would be that if I was the FA, would I ban Harry Kane, Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo? That's why the sponsors are interested.
Yeah.
To then say you're not going to play for the country, so that in the World Cup you're not going to have the superstars, and I'm going to lose billions in sponsorship. Am I prepared to take that chance? Yeah. That was never going to happen.
Okay, that's a very good point.